guys, and welcome back to my channel. This is Diana with Creativity. Today we're going to journal on my botanical junk journal. As you guys can see, I have a lot of unfinished pages, but that's just how my mind works. Sometimes I finish it, sometimes I don't. And I'm going to start with this ephemera. This ephemera, I got both of the ephemera that I'm going to use on this junk journal is actually scrapbooking paper. This one I've seen a lot of people grabbing it at the 99-cent store. This particular packet of scrapbooking paper, and I just cut it up as if they were postcards. So they come out looking they like postcards, and I really enjoy them. I have like 2 packages of these, so I have plenty of them to go around because every packet has 2 of those in it. Anywho, I start with this butterfly and this I think it's one of those index Rolodex divider. I'm doing it with a D because this is my birthday um, day that I'm scrapbooking. So we're not scrapbooking, junk journaling. It was a very special day for me. My husband and my daughter made it super extra special. This butterfly that I have here, it's a coloring paper from Botanical garden that we went, and they were giving it to the little kids, and I tapped the lady on the shoulder and I said, excuse me, can I have a coloring paper? And so I just thought I use it. I used the other half on a tag that I made, and it's in one of those it's in one of my previous videos of I think it's a flip through of tags and Polaroid art. I have this other, talking about Polaroids, I have a Polaroid picture of the plant that my husband bought for my birthday. It is a botanical journal, so I am gonna, I am gonna squeeze in there a botanical plant. Anywho, I have this page of flowers. I think they're cherry blossoms, and I'm just gonna cut those out and use it on this other page. Once I'm done cutting or fuzzy cutting on my flowers, I have to decide how I'm going to display it on my paper because it doesn't fit on the whole page. And by the way, now that I've started doing these YouTube tutorials, I've noticed I have an accent, and I have to apologize for that because I didn't know I had an accent. I've gone all my life not knowing that I had an accent, but I do. So, forgive me for my sometimes that I do. But anywho, so there's a little piece of the cherry blossom that's cut off on the bottom of the page, and I'm gonna use that on the side as if a cherry blossom was peeking through. And I'm just using I think it's that clear gesso to glue on my paper down. By the way, I coffee my all my papers are coffee stained and coffee dyed. I usually just throw it in a bucket. Sometimes it dyes all of it, sometimes pieces of it. So that brown color that you guys see here is my coffee dyeing kind of technique, because I do it in my backyard. I don't use the oven like I've seen many of you ladies do it, or many of you guys do the coffee dyeing. I do it in my backyard. I leave it on the table, and the wind just kind of takes it off and takes it different places, and sometimes it like lands on the bushes or like on the grass, and it gives me all these textures that they're fine to see, and it's like kind of like an Easter egg hunt. I go around picking up all my papers, and it just gives me so much joy to see like all the little textures that the paper gives me. I've recently learned that, people like me that start and not finish projects because, I get lost and discouraged sometimes. Um, I learned that those are called scattered brain artists. And when I heard the term, I was like, yep, that's me. Now I don't feel as discouraged. I felt like embarrassed before. I felt like, am I the only one that like starts into a project and I'm like so excited and I get so eager beaver, and then I'm halfway, I'm like, and I go to another page, I start something else, I'll leave it and I'll come back to it later, or maybe not. But my journal is full of finished and unfinished. So, and sometimes when I have an idea, I'll go back into my journal and look for a page where I want to start a new project. and then I see something already kind of started, and I'll finish my new idea or my old idea, and it works out great. I've learned that it works for me. It may not work for a lot of people, but it works for me. I have a this tag anyway. I have this tag that it's not a tag; it's like a divider, index divider. And I really like them. I got a whole huge box of them at the secondhand store, and I'm using the D. Like I said, it was for my birthday. My name is Diana, and my birthday's in December, so the D just kind of like made sense in this case. And when I antique it, I like to use two colors, two browns, just because I feel like one tone is not enough. I feel like I need depthness and lightness and darkness. Just because when I coffee stain the paper, I feel like I get that. Anyway, so when I do this step of wrinkling the paper, I do it first, so that my edges are all even. Because once the paper is wrinkled, then I don't get evenness on the edges. I get it after. Then I do it again so that the creases pop out, and you're able to see them more. I also usually use another color, like maybe a darker or even a lighter, so it gives me that 3D feel. Now it's time to take care of my butterfly. I grabbed acrylic paint, and it's the Walmart acrylic paint, those 50-cent ones. It's Caribbean blue. And I love this paint. I feel like I use it all the time. But, and I feel like everything's going to look Caribbean blue at some point. But, I love it in this page layout. And more because I wanted to use it because how that paper, the scrapbooking paper where my cherry blossoms came in, it had that blue as a background. So, in some of the I don't know, I just felt like it had to go there and felt like it went well with the pink, so I used it again, and I'm kind of going to use the same blue here as a background so that it gives me that same feel as the page did, because I really liked that contrast that it had. So I'm gonna use it on the background of that, just like if you were using, any of those paints or any sprays that you would use. I'm using it kind of like the same way. I would put a lot of water and let it drip and smear it here and spread it around. Then once it's dry, what I did is I put the picture there just so it gives me visualization. And then I stamp on the other side. I stamp like I think it's like I don't know where I bought it. I think I got it at the swap meet or secondhand store yard sale. I mean, I like to shop around and get stuff. Anyways, I think I've seen it also at Hobby Lobby. It's the little stamp recipients, and I grabbed that Tim Holtz pink one. I think it's a violet, something like that. And I sprayed it on. I put it on my what is this, plastic covers for the pages, and I sprayed it on there, and I sprayed it on my thing. And what I started to do is to mix it in. I use coffee water. I like to use that technique a lot just because I feel it gives me more depth. So it has coffee and pink ink, distress ink of Tim Holtz. It's You gotta be really, when it's like this and it's so thin and it's paper. It's like print paper is so thin. I was just having to be so careful with it. And I would dry it a little bit so it wouldn't rip, and I would do it again, and I would dry it, do it again. I mean, it looks like I did it fast and I wasn't like really careful, but believe me, this is like speeded up. I was so careful with this paper the whole time. I was so gentle, because if I rip it, there goes my butterfly. So I was just trying to be careful. And what I also did is I decided I needed to put a coat of that clear glaze so that it sturdies up the paper a little bit. Not that much, because I thought about putting like clear plastic behind the wings, so it really makes that whole butterfly sturdy. But I feel like it was gonna lose some of its, I don't know, cuteness of it being so much negative space. So I just left it like that, hoping that it doesn't rip. I mean, it's not like I play with my junk journals. I like to flip through them, once in a while when I'm thinking of working on something. I work, I look back at them and I look for inspirations, or I look for a started page and stuff like that. But that's pretty much the only times I play with them. So, I think it would be fine. Again, what I should have done is I should have got it off the sheets, the acrylic, the little pocket thing, and I should have taken it off first, then dried it. But I dried it, and so it kind of glued on the paper. So next, I did it again, and I think, I'm not sure, I guess we'll see right now, that this time I did take it off first, then I dried it. Telling him, I'm like all over the place. And you guys don't see the behind the scenes, but I'm I just work all crazy. I see all these other tutorials of these clean ladies and organized and all put together, and I'm like, that will never be me. I'm like over there, take this out, put it there, put it up, put it down, take it out. I'm so indecisive of where I put my stuff. I'm like always scared of putting things on the paper. I'm always scared of like gluing things. Like I'll put it there, I'll take it off, I'll put it, I move it. And I'm just like, so I frustrate myself at being nitpicky. So believe me, this video is very edited for your pleasure. Believe me, it was a pain in the gluteus maximus trying to get something halfway decent for you guys. So I'm playing with the whole thing again. I stamped it, and later I realized, like, why did I even stamp it? Like, none of it even shows. But, it's for the feel of it, I guess. But I use that same mailing stamp that I use on everything else. I noticed that my letters from my stencil wasn't really showing up. So I brought them up with a little bit of white on the letters so they pop out a little bit more. I use my fingers a lot for painting. I don't know. It might be messy, and you guys might not like it, but for me, I've always been, that messy, hands-on kind of person. Um, I feel like I did nothing if I don't end up with my hands all dirty. So, and at work, I'm always dirty with my hands because my husband's an artist, and I run the shop where we manufacture and distribute and reproduce all his artwork, and we sell it. We sell it all around the world. But I get dirty a lot because I have to maintenance the machines. You see my arm? You see my arm right there? That was like paint splatter from the machine I had just maintenance. You see my hands? And it's just I'm always cleaning the machines, or are doing something that pertains to that. And so I feel I'm comfortable being with paint all over me. It's just part of me, I guess, now. But anywho, so I start ripping the paper, start making it more older, making it more. Yeah, I do that. I play with it. I put distress stain, coffee, water. Next thing I know, I'm gonna put juice. I've tried my wines that I like when I'm drinking wine. I'm doing something. I'll just dip whatever I'm working on wine, see what happens. Or if I'm drinking juice or whatever, it's just I don't know. I'm crazy, people, and you guys. If you guys subscribe to my channel, you guys will see all kinds of crazy stuff that I love. I love art. I love everything that has to do with, getting your hands dirty. My husband happened to show up, and I just had to say, baby, please hold it for me. He's like, all right. He wasn't too happy about doing it, but he's a trooper. Anywho, so I'm gluing everything together, and you guys are gonna see how like crazy I work. I have to apologize for all this chaos. I try to cut as much as it off and just be more, focused on what I did and how I did it, what I used, rather than like all this time I've wasted trying to glue, not glue, and change my mind, and my chaos behind the chaos kind of thing. So finally I decided on something, and I'm serious when I'm putting glue on it, because that's going down. Although I've taken things apart many, many, many times. I'm also going to put a little bit of those cherry blossoms on top of the of the flower, but I'm gonna bring it up with foam. This foamy, I have lots of it, reminiscence of my of the art that my husband. That's what we used to protect my husband's artwork. So I have a gazillion of pieces of foamy everywhere. So if I can use it, why not? Better than throw it away. So I'm using it on these flowers, and before I glue it, what I do all the time is I like to bring my flowers to life, and I will pop them up, prompt them up. I don't know how to tease them, or I don't know what they would be. Shape them. Where would this be considered? Shape them, tease them, make them 3D. Rather than just a piece of paper flat on the thing. Give them that 3D depth of field kind of thing. And I just this is what I was doing. I was just playing with it, making it pop up one way, pop up down, pop up, fold them in, fold them up. Kind of sort of like how they would be in nature. And this is what I'm doing. So it looks crazy that I'm looking at it because it's all fast forwarding. It's like, what are you doing to the flowers? But that's what I'm doing. I'm popping them up so that they are not looking flat. Anyways, I use book binders to use my foam to glue the foam to the paper, just so that it glues all through the butterfly, through the papers and the foamy and everything together. So this is the hard part, people. I have this branch and I have this picture, and I know in my head, in my heart, they both need to be in this page. Now I'm going to toss this branch, I'm going to toss this picture everywhere, and I try to cut some of it off, but just so you guys can see how my brain works. And it took me probably about an hour of me doing this. I think I went with the camera. See, now I'm going away, coming back, going away, coming back. Now, so I decided to use some of those cutouts from the scrapbook paper that I showed you guys earlier, and I'm gonna use those as a to prop up my photo as well. Now the problem is, how are they gonna go? Are they gonna go sideways, upways? And I had to play with it, because if I just hurry up and put it down, I'm gonna regret it, and I'm gonna end up tearing stuff around, and I don't want to break the picture. It's my daughter's camera, so she was like, "You take a picture of my camera." So anyway, so now I owe her a picture, and so I don't want to waste it. So I decided I'm gonna staple the picture to the papers. I like the picture. I like the papers. I like the picture with the papers. Now, how are the picture and the paper gonna go on my journal? On top of the flowers. See, I overthink things, and so I feel like I don't know how you guys do it. Those people that just are so clean and so like determined and so just focused on what you guys are gonna do, because I can't do it. I can't just sit there and say, "Oh, this is how it looks." It's just, I'm so indecisive. I'm so confused all the time. And anyway, so I kind of decided on a pattern. I cut the branch in two, and I'm going to make it seem like it's popping out of the picture from the top back of the picture. And on the other side, I'm also going to do the foamy to make it pop out from the background of the other cherries in the background. And so this is like, sort of like a foreground. And I shape them up. I tease the edges. I prompt some of the leaves or petals of the flowers, and I used foamy to prop it up as well. Once I'm done with the major step, which is where's my main focal points are gonna go, I start putting the little details. I found these stickers that look like wax seals on I think it was a yard sale, and there was a bunch of them, and I just decided it's the same color of the pink, so I put one there. And on this side, I'm actually gonna journal. I journaled what happened on that day, on my birthday. I'm journaling all the experience that happened over the weekend. Then once again, with that Caribbean blue, I'm going to go back and put a little bit blue around those other cherry blossoms. And I'm going to put splatters all over the pages. I just water it down a little bit and do the splatters. And since it is a botanical journal, I'm going to put a label or on the page where my plant is. I'm going to put the label of what the plant is, botanical name is, and I'm going to put the is it Latin name as well. Anyway, so I gotta pick the colors. These are all stamped frames or labels that I have ready just there, so I don't have to be pulling everything out at this all the time. And this way it helps me to see more visually where and what colors. I stamped it in the colors I use it the most, and in the frames that I use the most. So I'm just gonna cut it out. And again, I stamp everything in file folders. I use the file folders on one side for my daughter to paint on, and on the other side I use it for stamping. And I feel like that way, whenever she makes something that I enjoy it, I use it on my journaling. And if not, or if whatever happens, I just use the other side, and I don't have to worry about me throwing away material, because I'm a total tree hugger. I don't like to waste a lot of stuff. If I can avoid it, I will. I will avoid it. And I cut the inside out of this little label. I use my knife to really go in there, because remember, it's a file folder, so these are kind of thick. And I just frame it. And what I'm also going to do is I'm going to prop it up. I'm going to glue on the back of it foamy, that same foamy that I use for everything. And I'm going to prop it up. I'm going to glue little strips of it on the back. So it gives me a little bit of space to put a label inside this little frame. And that way I can put the name of my plant in there. And to glue it down, I'm going to use my cold silicone. It's the same thing as a hot glue gun, but this one's cold. I don't know where you would get it. My husband brought it for me, and well, he didn't bring it for me. He brought it for himself, and I was like, baby, I really like this thing, and he just had no choice but to give it to me. And it works great. It gives me time to move around, but it holds really good, and it's a little flexible. So I kind of like that, because sometimes I've taken things out, and you can take it out, and it doesn't leave that much residue. And I really like it. And so, anyways, moving on. I'm gonna make a little tab for the inside label, and again, I'm gonna use some of that what are they tag leftovers, or just leftover paper from the file folders. And but I think that one is a tags from where I make the tags. I make my tags from the file folders, and I just use every little piece that I can, and I save them. Especially when my daughter did some drawing on it. She's 4, and so she kind of paints with some paints here and there, and I sometimes I like it a lot. And I save little pieces and bits, for flowers or little backgrounds or little something. And anyways, so I'm gonna put this little tab, but I'm gonna antique it, I guess you would say, or vintage it. I don't know what do people call it. I don't remember. But I'm gonna make it old. I'm gonna distress it. That's the word, distress it. And but I don't want to mess it up. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna practice the name or what I want to put on the back. That way I know how big to make my letters. In this case, I'm gonna use both names that like most of the plants have, like a botanical Latin name and simple terms name. So this is an Alocasia portora, or better known as a lowrider. So I'm gonna put both names on the little tag. So I practiced it on the back. Then I saw how much, how big or how small I needed to make each word or the letters, so it fits according to the little frame. I wanted to have the common name on the top, so I wanted to see how much space that little frame took up. And here I'm practicing. I'm just having a hard time with my pen. It's not like a technique or anything. Anywho, so it's a low rider, and then it's an alocasia. So I'm gonna just use my regular pen um, to write the name on it. I wanted to put little metal rivets on those little circles uh, on the sides of that little frame, but I was out of them. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna use that 3D puff, like cloth, I think it's cloth or fabric paint. So I'm gonna practice on a little, like a little hill, little mountain of it, and I'm gonna use those as little rivets or make them look like little rivets. To achieve this effect, I go back to after it's not completely dry, it's like semi dry, maybe like 10-15 minutes. And I go back with the back of my knife and I kind of give it a little cut, a crisscross, like a little screw would be. Or you could do one cross, but I like doing the double cross, it just gives me more texture. Then I grab one of my pastes and or wax, sorry, wax, and I just kind of smear the top of it so it gives me, so the texture of the X will show up. And that about wraps it all up. I'm pretty happy with this layout. This is my first junk journal with me layout that I do with you guys. So I appreciate you guys watching it with me, um, spending your time and seeing the stuff that I do. Thank you guys for watching. Please subscribe to my channel, and I hope to hear from you guys. Leave me in the comments what you guys think. Don't make fun of my accent now that I know I have it. Anyways, thank you guys for watching. Please like and subscribe to my channel, like I said, and well, have a good day.